This is going to be a different type of video. Between Carson, Emaru, Uberdanger, and Mizkif all hitting my content, it's time for a change. So allow me to take you all on a documentarian tale of one of history's most problematic and glutinous cults. A tale of love and loss, community, and worship. This is the tale of the Cult of Chung. Long ago, there lived 5 powerful gods of the old faith: Leshy, Hecate, Kallamar, Shamura, and Narrinder. Narrinder was the only of the 5 that wanted change, so in an attempt to take over, Narrinder committed many violent acts against the other 4 gods. He tore out Leshy's eyes, cut Hecate's throat, ripped Kallamar's ears right from their head, and split Shamura's skull in 2. However, this did not kill the gods, and the 4 came together to imprison Narrinder with 4 chains connected to each of their lives, and so they formed the 4 bishops. But one day, Shamura received a vision of a prophecy that said Narrinder, now known as the One Who Waits, would one day be freed by a lamb that would kill them all. And with this, the 4 bishops took it upon themselves to hunt down and sacrifice every lamb in the land. And they've almost completed their quest, as they are just on the brink of sacrificing the last lamb. The bishops speak one at a time. They go on how the prophecy will now be impossible to fulfill with this final sacrifice, that the heretic who lies below will be condemned to eternal captivity, and that the old faith shall be preserved. And so I was brought face to face with the One Who Waits. In death, I was brought straight to him. He offers me life again. All he asks in return is that we start a cult in his name. I, of course, say absolutely. Our story begins with the Lamb's resurrection. As the great Chung brings him back, he murders all in his way and makes haste to escape. Along the way, he comes across Grotto, a fellow follower who will help us along the way. Making our way through the chambers, we come across a few resources such as money, grass, and the first of our followers. And with that, we indoctrinate our first follower to the cult. And with that, a name change. I called him Bubba. So now we start our cult colony. I make a cooking pot for food and then set off on my quest to free the One Who Waits, starting with hunting down the first of the 4 bishops, Leshy. After a quick expedition, I come back with more resources and 2 new followers. I shall call them Gunga and Belongo. We go ahead and make our first shrine. With this, we can have followers spend their time praying and producing us devotion. This stuff can be used later on to unlock new buildings through the skill tree. One of these being the temple, where we host our first sermon, discovering another skill tree based on the follower's faith. This will upgrade equipment found on all our expeditions going forward, as long as we keep all of our followers in line. Skipped after another expedition. Now we have a few seeds to plant and the ability to pass the first of our 20 commandments. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but there were actually originally 20 commandments until Moses dropped some of them.
Oi. 10 commandments!
We're given the option between our cult being about industrialization or faith. We, of course, put our faith in Chung. I'm then told by Bubba that the followers are sick of sleeping on the floor, so next on the list was to make some beds. Then Ratatouille tells me to come over to his shack in the middle of the forest to talk further because he is, quote, old and weary. I of course go there and he introduces me to the wonderful game known as Knucklebones. I don't know, should I explain this game? Yeah, sure, why not? Players take turns rolling dice and placing them in a 3x3 space, bringing their score up. But if the other player rolls and places a number that's the same as a number from across of it, the other player will lose that number in that row. I ended up playing this for a few hours. I then hunted down and killed Leshy, which wasn't all that exciting, so there's not that much to show for it. With the first of the 4 bishops dead, we move on to expansion. We start with making a mine that'll give us a continuous resource of stone, but during its construction, I get an odd request from Bubba. Make Belongo eat bowl of poop? Alright, you know what? You raise a good argument. I then travel to a new area, Pilgrim's Passage. Here I meet a man that teaches me the art of fishing. I also come across a funny lighthouse keeper that talks like this. This is looking pretty good so far. We got a few followers and a steady production of devotion. We also go ahead and unlock the better shelter for the followers instead of just beds on the floor. And add 2 new commandments, the ability to ascend a follower to the great light above, leaving us with their delicious sustenance. And the ability to tax our followers a reasonable fee. Our next step is to make a lumberyard for passive wood production. I give some of the wood to the funny lighthouse guy per his request. Now they'll assist in making some more passive devotion. I also come across a strange man in the water. I hand him a fish and he tells me that I will see him again. Okay, but what we really need now is more followers. But with more followers comes more mouths to feed. So we need to make a farmhouse to get them to feed themselves. This is where we begin to grow. After many moons pass, the Cult of Chung is now prospering. We've upgraded our temple and shrine and even made a smaller shrine for those to worship at in their so-called free time. The farming situation has gotten better and we can now send followers out on missions to gather resources. I've also added an offering pot for those to offer their valuables to me, as I am the only true vessel to the world beyond. We made an outhouse and a janitor's closet so no one shits on the floor anymore, as well as a burial ground for Slush. Who is Slush, you may be asking, as I have yet to mention him? Slush was a new follower who dared to question our way. It was quite a shame when he died in his sleep under completely natural pretenses. Gunga returns from a mission bringing us tons of meat. With food no longer being an issue, our new goal is monetary gain. Luckily, I have just been informed by the Great One that we must pass a new commandment, a ritual in which all followers donate their money to me. Sorry, I don't make the rules, it was the Lord's will, I swear. We've also passed a few other commandments in the time of our growth, but they're pretty simple. We believe in marriage, funerals, feasts, the afterlife, dying old, and eating grass. What we can now call a town gets together to build new shelters for everyone, as we are a society that believes in equality for all, and no one should have better treatment. However, seeing as Gunga has been a trusted member of mine since the beginning, I award him the very first fully upgraded shelter, seeing as he will need it since he's become our go-to errand boy. Before the sun falls, we all gather together again to upgrade our temple and shrine for the last time. We also add a fire to it, along with the tiny one, to grant us even more devotion. We sculpt the rims of these upgrades out of pure gold, as we do not have material desires and wish only to spend our time praying. This place is truly coming along, but with more followers joining our cause and more demands of comfort being met, we are running awfully short on money. I still think the gold rims were worth it. So, naturally, we appoint a tax enforcement on our people. This is sure to go over well with the cult members. With these newfound riches, we begin construction of another farm. More food means more room for people, which means more money. I also get the opportunity to explore a new place called the Mushroom Grotto. Here, I meet a lanky man who tells me if I bring him some mushrooms, he will teach me a way to, as he puts it, make sure my followers stay in line. But once I return from the grotto, a quite strange occurrence happens, as Gunga tells me that despite my marriage to Gujan, that he is in love with me. This is quite a surprise, as not only did I have no idea I was apparently married, but also because I honestly have no idea if Gunga is a guy or a girl. But I digress. Gunga is my favorite of the followers of Chung, so I must accept his proposal. So we all dance and eat, and the next day, have the wedding. I sent Gujan out on an expedition during this, as while I had no idea we were married, let alone who he was or what he did around here, I didn't want him to feel distraught. Now with a lovely husband, or wife, at my side, I'm still not sure which, we set off to kill the next bishop, Hackett. We of course kill him with ease and yoink his heart for later consumption. But as I return to the village with tales of victory, an absolute tragedy occurs in Lego City, as Gunga returns from his expedition and immediately succumbs to his wounds, falling to his death. A day after our marriage, and I'm already burying them. We hold the funeral and reluctantly move forward. So in the name of Gunga, I begin to move in on the third bishop, Kallamar, who to dissuade me curses my followers with sickness, something we had been strategically avoiding by not cooking any food that would have a chance of causing any sickness. So now we gotta waste even more resources on a sick bay. However, after another expedition, I come back to the terrible news that one of the followers, Junga, has lost faith in the cult, and he begins preaching those doubts onto others. So I take the only natural course of action, putting him in prison and beginning his rehabilitation. Forceful lectures and humiliation. But when this was not enough, we travel back to visit the mysterious mushroom man and see what he's done with what I've brought him earlier. And he hands me some mushrooms and teaches me a wonderful brainwashing ritual that should do the trick. I perform the ritual, and not only does this solve our blasphemy problem, but also assist with keeping everyone very happy with the direction our cult is taking, definitely by their own volition and free will. After burying a few more bodies, we go ahead and build a confessional booth so that followers may confess their feelings of doubt to me, and be promptly corrected if necessary. Of course, the first patient is Junga, to ensure his loyalty going forward. It seems his problem was the lack of soup. There also seems to be quite an issue of idiocy with some of the sick followers needing to be told to get better as to heal. And now that our main focus seems to have shifted towards the expeditions, I think I ought to explain them far too late into the game. You basically just fight guys while coming across different weapons and spells, also occasionally getting passive effects to their tarot cards either bought or found in chests. You'll gather tons of resources and maybe a few followers along the way until you reach the boss. And after 4 bosses, the door will open to the next bishop. And with that, we have 1 to go. But first, I want to try and speed up the farm's production. I attempt this by making propaganda speakers. These will increase workers' efficiency by providing them with awe-inspiring speeches. We then move on to our hunt for the last bishop, Shamura. Much like how Kallamar sickened our followers, Shamura demonstrates his power of mind control by sicking one of our own on us. We unfortunately have no choice but to kill him. Shamura will regret these transgressions. While on this expedition, we also come across a sign leading us to a new area called Midas Cave. We come to this new area and to no surprise find that it will require a lot of monies. But we also have the ability here to turn our followers into little clay sculptures, so that's kind of funny. So after a few more rituals and followers turn to clay, we come face to face with Shamura, our final challenge. And so it is done. We build 4 statues in commemoration of the defeat of each of the 4 bishops. And finally, we enter the gateway to release the one who waits. Only to be met with the message that we require 20 followers to open the gate. Well, this might take a little bit. We set off to prepare for the Great One's release. We make a 3rd farming area to ensure food won't be a problem in the future with so many followers, and go ahead with preparing 20 houses in advance. We also reach the final devotion level, letting us realize that now all sources of devotion will generate money instead. This is big. After hours and hours of grinding, going on constant expeditions, finishing off Midas Cave and unlocking all that we can, we reach this point. We have sustainable farming. We've buried all our fallen heroes never to be forgotten. Trophies to commend our 4 victories over the bishops. A self-sustaining crafting system. Multiple ways of worship. A thriving resource generation process. And a comfortable housing area. I added a bunch of flooring to clean up the place too. But none of this matters. What matters now is freeing the one who waits, Narrinder. We all sit for one final feast, and then set off to open the gateway. And finally, here we are. After all we've built, all we've fought for, it's finally time to receive our eternal reward. The one who waits tells me he will relinquish me of my service to the Red Crown. And finally, after all this, he will be free. He then says to approach and lay my life down at his feet, as he then brings all of our fellow cult members here with us. And so, I approach. After all of this is what I've been fighting for? For all I've built to be sacrificed to my god, to lay down not only my life, but the lives of the others for the cause, to return the Red Crown I was gifted to its original owner. But is this right? Is this what Gunga, my wife or husband I still don't know, died for? No, I can't hand over all we've built. Have it all have been for nothing but one god's desire for power. I will not kneel. As to be expected, Narrinder does not view betrayal very lightly. How ironic given his past. But nevertheless, if I would not give my life, he would take it. But of course, like the coward he is, he sicks his first son, Baal, on me first. Well, good thing he has another son. Shit. And with that, Narrinder was reduced to nothing but a mere mortal among us. But would I so hypocritically kill him and keep the crown for myself, just as he planned to do? Or would I show mercy to this false god that proved to be our greatest enemy? Yeah, no, I don't trust you. And so it is. Many fell to assist us in our quest, some by our own hand that maybe had some truth to them. We learnt and created so much, with a thriving economy, a comfortable community, and a now rich history. It was simply time to move on, continue building, feasting, and praying, but no longer under the guise of a false prophet. We are no longer a cult, nor are we a religion. We are just simply a community.